Hi everybody, welcome to the first video here in Finance 370. What we're going to be doing in this video here is I'm going to be giving you an outline of this course, outline of the content, what it is that we're going to be discussing and what it is that you're going to be learning, and a little bit about just how it's laid out to give you some sort of frame of reference for the course as a whole. I will introduce myself first. My name is Joe DeGroff and I will be your instructor in this video. We're going to be having I won't be the only person in the videos that you see. There will be some other practitioners that join us for some videos to be able to give you different perspectives on things. And so you'll see a rotating cast of characters in for some of the videos, but the vast majority of the videos will be me teaching. Now, I have spent the vast majority of my life in finance in some different capacity. I've worked in personal finance, working with clients. I've worked as a finance director in the automotive industry. So I've seen a different side of credit and underwriting, and I've also had the privilege of running some businesses as well. So I've been able to see accounting and business finance and lots of different elements of finance. And so I've had a pretty well-rounded career in the financial industry, if you will. And so I enjoy to be able to share that with you. So I say that to say that when I am teaching, I am coming at this from a perspective of practice. This isn't just I'm not just teaching you something that came out of a book that I don't really have any practical understanding of, or I haven't been able to experience practically. These are things that I am teaching you practically what happens, how things work, and I am developing the content based upon what it is that I think you should know about these different topics. I've taught this course for several years now, and so I've been able to hone in a little bit on what is important to be learning, and I'm excited to be able to share that with you. So anyway, the reason I say that is, again, just so to give you an idea of the perspective I'm coming from, which is the perspective of practice, okay? So let's talk a little bit about what this course is. This is Introduction to Personal Finance, Finance 370, but it's actually the first course of it's the first part of a two-course series, if you will. So Finance 370 is the first one. Finance 485 is the second one. And they are basically two courses, or they're two semesters of one big course, if you will, kind of broken into two sections. Let me give you an example that might make it a little bit make a little bit more sense. So think about baking a cake. If you're baking a cake, the first part of it is you got to acquire all the ingredients, and you got to, kind of like, okay, I've got eggs, I got milk, I need flour, I need a baking pan, I need, whatever it is that you need to be able to make a cake. And then what you want to do is you want to mix it all up and bake it, and so that it actually becomes a cake. The ingredients on themselves are nice, but unless you mix them all together, they don't actually ever become a cake. And so it is with financial planning, okay? A lot of times people will want to know something about cash flow or insurance or whatever, but knowing certain elements of certain components do not make you financially prosperous, okay, or allow you to financially grow. So what we have to do is we have to learn about the individual ingredients of financial planning, and then we learn to put them all together so that we can actually make a financial strategy that works together. That's how these courses are laid out. So Finance 370, what we're going to be doing is learning a lot of the individual components of personal finance. And then in Finance 485, we're going to be mixing all of those things together to create the financial strategy. Okay, so what we're going to be learning, some of the modules that we're going to be learning, or the topics in this course, Finance 370, we're going to be learning cash flow, okay, managing what comes in and managing what goes out. And that's going to be very, very foundational to a lot of the financial planning that you'll do in your future. So we're going to talk about cash flow, we're going to talk about risk management, okay, it's going to be insurance products, and then managing your risks in general, because as your financial assets begin to grow, you need to be able to protect those things. So risk management is kind of a philosophy, or is very much a philosophy that needs to go into any aspect of your financial planning. We're also going to be discussing liabilities. There are good liabilities that push us forward. There are liabilities that are liabilities and they hold us back. So we're going to be learning the difference of the two and how to make decisions about the two. Be learning about credit, how credit works, and how loan underwriting works, so that you have a frame of reference for that process. We're going to be talking about some investments into the financial market, how to get into the financial markets, what are some of the things that you need to think about within the investing world. We're also going to be talking about taxes, how to do a tax return so you can understand our federal income tax system. And we're going to talk about student loans, because that's a big topic of importance. We're going to talk about a lot of other things, okay? But that's primarily, the content points that we're going to be hitting are going to fall, a lot of those ones. And so we're going to take that information, and I want to teach you a lot about how each of those things work, because what happens with a lot of people is they just want to do that recipe stuff where it's like, I just want to follow a recipe, just tell me what to do and then I'll do it. And the problem with that is, a recipe is really good for baking a cake, something where the inputs are the same and the output is the same every single time. But in life, it's not always that way, because in life, sometimes things change. We don't always have all the money that we want, or the raise doesn't come through, or the promotion didn't happen, or we become uninsurable, or we have kids at times we weren't expecting, or maybe our kid has special needs, or there's so many things that could happen that affect what our financial plan was, that we have to be in a position that we know how to adapt. And if the only thing that we know how to do is follow this recipe, then when there are changes to the recipe, we don't know how to adapt. Okay, so I want to be able to teach you all how to adapt, and the way to do that is to teach you about each of these individual components, how they work, what they are, what's relevant to know, what's not as relevant to know. And then as you have a frame of reference for that, then we can begin putting things together into a more cohesive financial strategy. Okay, so that's the outline of how we're going to do this. So really what I'm trying to do in these courses are to teach you how to make financial decisions. Okay, so the other part about this is we're also going to be talking a lot about life and life decisions. There is this link between how we live our lives and how we manage our money. They are pretty well linked together, and so it's important that we discuss both things. A lot of financial decisions cannot be well interpreted outside of understanding people's emotional drivers for those decisions, okay? Finance is very behavioral driven, and if we don't have a good frame of reference for acknowledging the behavioral aspect of it, then we're not going to make good decisions. Let me give you an easy example. Some people are more predisposed to spending money. Others are more predisposed to saving money. I can't remember if I just said that. Some are more predisposed to spending, some are more predisposed to saving. So what that means is they make different decisions with money, even if they have the same amount of money in their hands. If you give a spender $100 and you give a saver $100, they're going to do different things with it. And it's not good enough to simply tell the spender to go save money or the saver to don't hoard money, right? Sometimes we got to make decisions that are accommodating of the people and their personalities to help them to make decisions in the right way. I was talking to somebody here a few weeks ago that was what he said. He said, I save money to the point that I'm actually kind of afraid to spend it. And then we have other people that, spend money to the point that they're afraid to save it. Okay, so there's just different decisions, different considerations based upon people, their personalities, their fears, their, backgrounds, all of these things. And to ignore the link between the person and the money is not something to ignore. So we have to take those things into consideration. So we're going to talk a lot about that throughout this course. As we go into different topics, I will try very hard to utilize actual practical information that makes sense, practical things that actually have happened to help you have a better, to help you gain better perspective on it. So that's how we're going to be doing this. This is about financial decisions. It's going to be a lot about life, teaching how to grow your money, grow your life, but most of all, to use your money to grow your life. That's what this is about. Money is not a goal. Money is a tool. It's something to help push us forward in our lives. It's not something that we set out as this carrot on a stick that maybe one day we can have money and we're perpetually chasing it. That's not how it's supposed to work. We want to take money, we want to use it as a tool, we want to we want to use it, make good decisions about it to help us to grow in our lives. And so that's what these courses are going to be teaching. Okay, so we've got this course, they're broken up into different modules. Exams will be after every 2 modules. There will be a homework assignment for every module. Okay, so we're going to have homework assignment every module. We're going to have exams every 2 modules. And The exams will be laid out as mostly short answer, or excuse me, mostly multiple choice. There may be some short answer in there and maybe an essay or two as well, but it just depends on the depends on the module and it depends on the content. Okay, so I think the final thing that I want to say about this is this. I will do my best to teach you. I cannot force you to learn, okay? I cannot force you to learn, I can teach. The way that the learning happens is if I teach and you study. If I teach and you study, learning is what happens between that. So it really takes both of us. And so I want to encourage in that, I'm not a perfect teacher and you're not a perfect student. So I want to encourage, if there are questions, if there's problems, if there's issues, let's communicate, okay? I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to always be right on everything. If there was a mistake that was made, or if there's something that we need to do differently, then by all means, let's talk about these things and make it work, because I want to help facilitate learning. And I don't want you to ever feel afraid that you can't ask questions, that you can't approach me, you can't send out an email. I don't care if we've already answered the question. I don't care if I've answered it last week. I'm not going to be sitting here looking at you and be like, I told, these kids this last week and they're not listening. No, I don't do that kind of stuff. If there's questions you have, reach out, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them, and let's keep pushing. Let's push our knowledge forward. Okay, so that's about how I do this. I look very much forward to meeting you all virtually, getting to know you all, and hopefully this is a good course content for you. So anyway, thanks so much. We'll catch you on the next video.